All right, let's get ready to climb high today. We're going to be diving into your research on seed collection.
Oh, great.
And, it turns out getting those little packages of life from these huge tropical trees is much harder than you might think.
Yeah, it really is. We need those seeds for reforestation and for conservation efforts.
Right.
And it's not easy when you're dealing with trees that can reach heights of 60 meters or more.
Wow, 60 meters.
Or more.
That's like 20 stories high.
Yeah.
So I guess it's definitely not as simple as just like picking up the seeds that have fallen on the ground.
Well, sometimes it is.
Okay.
That's called ground level collection, and it works really well for species
Right.
where the seeds just naturally fall and disperse easily.
Makes sense.
I know in your research you were looking at acacia trees.
Yeah.
And researchers have found that just using a simple funnel mounted on a smaller tree can really efficiently gather acacia seeds as they drop.
Oh, wow.
Pretty clever, right?
Yeah. That's actually a really cool example, like setting up a little natural seed trap.
Yeah.
But I bet that only works for a limited number of species.
Yeah.
What about the trees where the fruit hangs way up high in the canopy?
Exactly. That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Canopy collection brings a whole new set of challenges.
Right.
You're dealing with height, of course,
Right.
but also the stability of the branches, the density of the foliage, and oftentimes limited accessibility.
Right.
It's a bit like a three-dimensional puzzle figuring out how to reach those seeds.
So I saw from your notes, it seems like humans have come up with some really ingenious solutions.
Yeah.
So what's the first approach that researchers will use when those seeds are just out of reach?
Well, one of the most basic but essential tools is the long-handled tool.
Okay.
It's kind of what it sounds like, extending your reach as far as possible.
Uh-huh.
You were looking into bamboo poles?
Yeah.
Those are definitely a favorite.
So why bamboo specifically? Is it just because it's lightweight?
That's part of it, yeah.
Okay.
But bamboo is also incredibly strong for its weight.
Right.
And very importantly, it's really readily available in a lot of rainforest regions,
Okay.
which makes it a sustainable and practical choice.
Makes sense.
Plus, you can attach all sorts of things to the end of a bamboo pole.
Right.
Pruning shears, hooks, even small saws.
I can imagine researchers carefully, maneuvering a bamboo pole with a saw at the end, trying to, snip off a fruit or a branch just laden with seeds.
Yeah.
That must take some serious skill, especially when you're dealing with, a 5-meter pole.
Yeah, you got it. 5 meters is about the limit for bamboo poles.
Okay.
Any longer than that, and they just become way too unwieldy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you're right, it takes a lot of practice and precision to use them effectively.
Right.
You have to consider wind, the weight of the fruit, and even the angle of the cut to avoid damaging the tree.
Yeah.
That's a lot to think about.
Amazing to think about the balance and coordination involved.
Yeah.
It's like a delicate dance high above the forest floor.
It really is.
But I imagine there are times when even a 5-meter pole isn't long enough. What happens then?
That's when we bring in the heavy equipment, mobile hydraulic platforms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Imagine a cherry picker, but specifically designed for seed collection.
Wow, that sounds impressive. So it must make those hard-to-reach branches suddenly accessible.
Absolutely. These platforms have a cage-like platform perched on top of a hydraulic arm
Right.
that can extend really high into the canopy.
Okay.
They allow researchers to get up close and personal with the branches, making the collection process much more efficient.
So I was looking at the trade-offs involved.
Yeah.
I imagine there must be some drawbacks to using such specialized equipment.
You're right. Cost is a major factor.
Okay.
These platforms require a significant investment,
Makes sense.
not just to purchase, but also to transport and to maintain.
Right.
So they're typically reserved for collecting seeds that are particularly valuable, either because they're rare, in high demand for reforestation projects,
Yeah.
or represent unique genetic diversity that's crucial to preserve.
It makes sense to prioritize those high-value seeds.
Uh-huh.
So we've got ground collection for the easy targets, long-handled tools for those within reach,
Yeah.
and then mobile platforms for the really high-hanging fruit.
Right.
But what about those instances where the seeds are in a tricky spot, or the terrain makes it impossible to get a platform close enough?
Well, in those cases, there's really only one option left.
We got to send in a climber.
Exactly. And while we try to minimize the need for climbing because of the risks involved, sometimes it's the only way to reach those seeds.
Yeah.
It requires really specialized skills and equipment.
Yeah, for sure.
Not to mention a good head for heights.
Oh, I bet. So you were looking at the advanced line technique.
Yeah.
What makes that so special?
This technique is really fascinating because it allows for just incredible precision and control when cutting branches high up in the canopy. Okay.
It involves a flexible saw suspended from ropes that can be maneuvered with incredible accuracy.
So I'm picturing like a scene from a movie,
Uh-huh.
a skilled climber suspended high above the forest floor,
Right.
carefully guiding a saw to snip off a branch with all these precious seeds on it.
Yeah.
So what kind of saw are we talking about here? Is it like a regular chainsaw?
Not quite.
Okay.
These specialized saws are really designed for the unique challenges of canopy work.
Okay.
Unlike a standard chainsaw, which only cuts in one direction,
Uh-huh.
these saws can cut in both directions,
Oh, wow.
making them much more maneuverable in those tight spaces between branches.
Right.
They also tend to be lighter and more compact,
Okay.
which is crucial when you're carrying them up a tree.
It's amazing how much technology goes into something as seemingly simple as collecting seeds.
I know, it's really interesting.
Shows the dedication and ingenuity of the people working in this field.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder, with all this effort involved,
How does the cost of collecting these seeds compare to the value of the trees they might become?
that's a really crucial question.
Right.
And it takes us beyond just the technical aspects of seed collection
Yeah.
into some broader economic and environmental considerations. You see, the value of a tree extends far beyond just its timber.
Right.
It plays a vital role in the ecosystem, contributing to biodiversity, carbon sequestration,
Right.
and, the overall health of the planet.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Exactly.
We're investing in the future, right?
Exactly. And the return on that investment is huge.
Yeah.
Healthy forests support livelihoods, they provide resources, and they contribute to a thriving economy.
Right.
Plus, they played a critical role in mitigating climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
So it's really a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Investing in seed collection helps protect our environment and supports our economy.
That.
But I imagine it's a really complex calculation,
Yeah.
trying to balance the costs of all of these intricate seed collection methods
Yeah.
against the potential benefits.
It is, you have to factor in the direct costs like
Yeah.
labor, equipment, transportation,
Right.
which can vary a lot depending on the techniques used and the remoteness of the location. And then there are also indirect costs like the potential impact of the collection process on the forest ecosystem.
Right. So even with the most careful techniques, there's always a risk of disturbing the delicate balance of the forest.
Yeah, that's why minimizing the impact is a top priority.
Makes sense.
Researchers are constantly working to refine techniques,
Yeah.
develop less invasive methods,
Okay.
and just ensure that seed collection is done sustainably.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Right.
where we can collect enough seeds to support conservation and reforestation efforts without harming the existing forests.
So it sounds like a constant process of innovation and adaptation.
It really is.
So what are some of the ways that researchers are trying to make seed collection more efficient and sustainable?
Well, one area of focus is developing new technologies.
Okay.
For example, drones are starting to be used to access the canopy
Oh.
and collect seeds, which can be less intrusive than climbing or using heavy machinery.
Okay.
There's also a lot of research going into understanding the reproductive cycles of different tree species
Right.
so that collections can be timed
Okay.
to maximize seed yield while minimizing disturbance.
So there's a whole scientific side to seed collection
Yeah,
that goes beyond just the physical act of gathering them.
absolutely.
Wow.
And it's not just about cutting-edge technology either.
Right.
There's a growing recognition of the importance of traditional ecological knowledge.
Right.
Local communities often have a really deep understanding of the forest,
Yeah.
the trees, and their seeding patterns,
Right.
which can be invaluable in guiding collection efforts.
So it's like combining the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Modern science and ancient wisdom
Exactly.
to ensure the success of these conservation efforts.
It's a powerful partnership,
Yeah.
and it highlights the importance of collaboration in this field.
Okay.
Seed collection isn't just the work of a few scientists or climbers.
Right.
It requires a coordinated effort
Uh-huh.
involving researchers, conservationists, local communities,
Right.
and even government agencies.
So it sounds like a global effort
Yeah,
with everyone working towards a common goal.
you're exactly right.
Wow.
In fact, There are international organizations dedicated to seed conservation, facilitating the exchange of knowledge, resources, and best practices across borders.
That's great.
They're working to create global seed banks, safeguarding the genetic diversity of tree species from around the world.
I never realized how much coordination and collaboration goes into something as seemingly simple as collecting seeds.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the dedication and passion of people all over the world who are committed to preserving these vital ecosystems.
Right.
And as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. Imagine holding a tiny seed in your hand.
Okay.
It seems so small, so insignificant. Yet within that seed lies the potential for a towering tree, a thriving ecosystem, a healthier planet.
That's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
It really puts things into perspective.
Yeah. It really does make you realize that even the smallest things can have a huge impact.
They really can.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a question that you had in your research.
Okay.
What happens to those seeds once they're collected?
Right.
It's not just about gathering them.
Right.
It's about making sure they grow into the next generation of trees.
So there's a whole other set of challenges involved in getting those seeds to germinate and thrive.
Exactly. You can kind of think of it as the next chapter in the seed's journey.
Okay.
And just like with collection, there are so many factors to consider.
First, you need to understand the specific needs of each species.
Right.
Some seeds need light to germinate.
Okay.
Others need darkness.
Interesting.
Some need a period of cold stratification, mimicking the winter conditions they would naturally experience.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like a recipe.
Yeah.
You need the right ingredients in the right proportions to get the desired outcome.
It sounds like a delicate process.
It is.
So what are some of the techniques that are used to nurture those tiny seeds into healthy seedlings?
Well, one common approach is to create a controlled environment, like a nursery, where temperature, humidity, and light can be really carefully regulated.
Okay.
Researchers and foresters will often plant the seeds in trays or pots, filled with a special growing medium that provides the right balance of nutrients and drainage.
So it's like giving those seeds like a VIP start in life.
Exactly.
Make sure they have everything they need to thrive.
But even in a controlled environment, there are challenges. Seedlings are really vulnerable to pests, diseases, and even competition from other plants. It takes careful monitoring and management to ensure their survival.
Yeah, it makes you really appreciate the dedication of the people working in this field.
Yeah.
It's not just about collecting the seeds, it's about nurturing them, protecting them, and giving them the best possible chance to grow into strong, healthy trees.
It's a labor of love, for sure.
Yeah, it really is.
And it highlights the importance of long-term thinking.
Right.
You're not just planting a tree for today, you're planting it for future generations.
So I was looking at the economic and environmental impact of all of this. It seems like these reforestation efforts have the potential to make a real difference in the fight against climate change.
They absolutely do. Trees are incredible carbon sinks.
Right.
Meaning they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it in their wood, leaves, and roots.
Okay.
So by planting more trees, we can help mitigate the effects of climate change and create a healthier planet.
But it's not just about planting any tree, right?
Right.
You were talking about the importance of genetic diversity earlier.
Yeah, that's a crucial point.
Okay.
You want to make sure that the trees you plant are well suited to the local environment.
Right.
And have the genetic resilience to adapt to changing conditions.
Makes sense.
That's where seed collection and those seed banks we talked about become so important.
Yeah.
They help preserve a wide range of genetic material, ensuring that we have the diversity needed to create healthy and resilient forests.
It's amazing to think about the connections from collecting those tiny seeds high in the canopy to these global efforts to combat climate change.
It is.
It really shows how interconnected everything is.
It really does. And it underscores the fact that we all have a role to play in protecting our forests.
Right.
Even if you're not a scientist or a tree climber, you can still make a difference.
Yeah.
Supporting conservation organizations, making sustainable choices in your daily life, advocating for responsible forestry practices. Every action counts.
It sounds like there's a lot we can learn from the world of seed collection.
Yeah.
It's a story of ingenuity, collaboration, and a deep respect for the natural world.
It is. And it's a story that's still being written as we face the challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss. The work of seed collectors, foresters, and researchers becomes even more crucial.
It's been so fascinating exploring this topic with you today.
Yeah, it's been great.
From those daring climbs high in the canopy to the intricate science of seed germination.
Yeah.
And the global efforts to reforest our planet.
It is amazing.
Been a truly eye-opening experience.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you. And to our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more. Remember, every seed holds the potential for a brighter, greener future.
Right.
And every action we take, no matter how small, can help make that future a reality.